So here it is, ladies and gentlemen, it's the Italjet Dragster. It has officially returned.
Oh my God, okay, it's happening.
Now, if you're slightly older like myself, you remember the original two-stroke dragster from the late 90s being an absolute weapon. So I'm so joyed to eventually get this bike in to bring a full review. So one of the key things about the Italjet Dragster is how it looks, because in my opinion, it looks like a work of art. All of us in the BikeMatters team absolutely love the look of the Dragster.
Same for Brett, I love the way that Dragster looks.
It looks so good.
So
the
sick.
front of it is so aggressive.
It's stealthy, it's modern, it's very, very aggressive and that kind of hyper naked style, while still looking very similar to the original Dragster. We've got LED lights all around, including these projector style headlights. We've got the sequential indicators. I mean, just look at the attention to detail and how it's been designed. The finish is absolutely fantastic and it's very premium. And that is just the feeling you get with the Dragster throughout. We've got the exposed red trellis frame with the suspension on show, front and back. It looks incredibly sporty and it just looks like a racing cockpit. You would not associate the look of this with a normal road-going scooter. You've got the incredible, tailored fitted kind of seat, which looks incredible and very nice attention to detail with the red stitching. Overall, the Italjet feels and looks very premium indeed, and it does really pay homage to the original back from the late 90s. So as colorways are concerned, we have the black grey version here today, which looks incredibly stealthy. I'm a big fan of that anthracite white and red one. I think it looks even sportier than this. But if you want to go brighter, then there's anthracite and yellow if that tickles your fancy. The engine in this Italjet Dragster is a 181cc single-cylinder, 4-stroke, 4-valve, double overhead cam, liquid-cooled motor. And it pumps out 17.5 brake horsepower at 8,250 RPM and 17 Newton-meters of torque at 6,250 RPM. So what does the engine spec actually mean when you take the Italjet Dragster out on the road? Well, this is the 200cc version, and I have to be honest with you, the engine for me is disappointing. It is a bit on the tame side. When you get a Dragster, you buy it because it looks awesome and it performs awesome, but that engine is a bit of a letdown. It's average. It accelerates okay, don't get me wrong. It'll build up to 40 miles an hour respectfully, 40 to 60 is a bit slower, and top speed,
tuck-in time.
It is running in, we got it to 67. I would have loved for it to get to kind of 70, 75 there, especially for a 200, because there's a few 125s out there which I think will match this for acceleration and top speed, such as the Piaggio Medley. As I alluded to, 200 is a really weird category in the UK at the moment because obviously a CVT can go up to a 125. So I think most people in the UK will opt for that 125cc version, which has about 5 horsepower less at 12.5 horsepower. It looks fantastic, but that engine is just slightly disappointing for me. Hopefully in future versions, we can get an even quicker Italjet Dragster. Now the fuel tank on the Dragster is under the seat there, and it holds 9 litres of fuel, which I think is pretty decent going. Now for fuel efficiency, we reckon you should get about 70 to 80 miles per gallon if you ride it fairly sensibly. We haven't been, no, we've been ragging it around Norfolk getting about 55 miles per gallon. Ride it sensibly around towns and cities, average speeds, 70 to 80 miles per gallon should be about there. Now the seat height on the Dragster is 770 millimeters high, which is lovely and accessible, and even I can flat foot it, which is a good sign for short riders out there. Now when we look at the design, your feet are going flat on the boards there. You can't really have them on the back of the leg shield, so it does limit you slightly. Now Felix, our other test rider at BikeMatters, who's 6 foot tall, got on okay with it, but did say it was a little bit on the cramped side and wasn't the best kind of posture for him. So it's something to be wary of for the taller rider. If you're shorter or average height, I'm sure you'll get on absolutely fine. Now the seat itself, again, just like the rest of the bike, is a work of art. Just look how it's been designed with the carbon fibre look, the red stitching. It looks tailor-made. It really does stand out and look awesome. And it just gives that kind of cockpit kind of feeling to the bike when you're sitting in. It's just curved around your arse and really tucks you in nicely. There's a little bit for pillion as well, if you fancy that. I'm not sure if I would, but the seat itself is lovely. It looks awesome, but does get a little bit on the firm side after about an hour or so on the saddle. Now, you might be surprised to know that under the seat on the Dragster is actually a little bit of storage space, enough to fit a mobile phone or chocolate bar of your choice. But however much we tried, we didn't quite fit a full face helmet. Now, the trellis frame on this is chromolybdenum, molybdenum, molybdenum, whatever it is.
Molybdenum.
That is what's on this trellis frame. The scooter itself weighs 140 kilograms, which is just slightly on the porkier side of things. But when you look at quite what's gone into the design of the scooter, you start to understand why. Moving on to steering, because it is different on this than your average scooter, we have hub center steering, all designed to give it a completely different feel and reduce the vibrations running through those bars. And it does the job really well indeed. With hub center steering though, it does feel weird manual handling it or going at very slow speeds. It feels heavy and it feels kind of like you've not got enough air in your tyres. But when you get going on this thing, my oh my, it is a wicked fun. It's so agile, so easy to navigate. It is an absolute hoot. Now, one thing I quickly want to point out is this only comes with a centre stand for the starting price. If you want a side stand, that is an optional extra. Now, the braking on the Dragster is really, really impressive. The size might not blow you away, but performance-wise, it is so good.
Yeah, it's so good. Yeah, it's killer.
At the front here, we have a 200mm wavy braking disc with a 2-piston Brembo caliper. To the rear, we have a 190mm wavy braking disc with a single piston Brembo caliper, and it is backed up with 2-channel ABS. Now, the brakes themselves are absolutely fantastic. They are spot on. The levers themselves feel quality, and as soon as you start pulling in, you feel nice progressive braking. The front brake is superb, but when you use both brakes together, it brings you to a great halt. The braking is just spot on. I'm not disappointed at all. Now, if you don't already know, BikeMatters, our YouTube channel, is powered by Lexham Insurance, who are motorcycle and scooter insurance specialists in the UK. Not just do they power us though, because our viewers in the UK can save up to £20 off their insurance premium. Just click the link in the top right hand corner now, complete the quotation form, and the premium would have already been deducted with your discount. Now, as you might expect with a Dragster, the suspension setup is a little bit different. At the front here, we basically have a single-sided swing arm. It's known as ISS, or Independent Steering System, and that then is backed up by that monoshock, which is adjustable. Doesn't it look absolutely awesome? But that's not it, because on the back we have another monoshock. What does the suspension actually mean when you take it out on the road? Well, it is a much firmer setup, as you'd expect with a race sporty scooter such as this, especially with a firmer seat. So on rougher roads, you'll feel lumps and bumps, there's no doubt about that. But my oh my, is it rewarding. Out in the city, in the town, countries, having it on the lanes, the setup on this thing is so rewarding. It feels so sporty and agile. It's an absolute hoot. So as you might expect with a small scooter such as this, we do have little wheels. At the front here, we have a 12-inch wheel, and to the rear, we have a 13-inch wheel. Now, we do have Pirelli tyres, Pirelli Angel scooter tyres, in fact. At the front is a 120 wide, and to the rear, we have a 140 wide, which means even doing 65 miles per hour on a dual carriageway, it might be a small wheel, small scooter, but it feels well planted indeed. There's no concerns there. Onto the dash and switch gear. And the switch gear is pretty darn impressive. Slightly different design than what you're used to, but it is nice, it's fancy, it's really good quality. It feels decent to the touch as well. It is such a premium feeling, but yeah, switch gear just works as good as you'd expect from Italjet. The dash itself is very minimal. It is clear, it's easy to see. I didn't get any problems with glare. You've got a clock, you've got typical speedo, fuel gauge, and odometer, and then you've got your typical dash warning lights as well. So it's nothing fancy, there's no app integration, no full colour TFT or anything like that. It is a bit basic, but it does the job really well. When it comes to technology on the Dragster, I've basically covered it all already. We have the ISS, we have the LED headlights, we have ABS as well. Under the handlebars there is a convenient little USB charging port for your mobile phone or sat-nav device. So how much does the Italjet Dragster 200 cost?
How much money exactly?
Well, as you might have guessed from my reviews so far, and how often I say premium, this is not a cheap scooter. This 200 version costs £5,299 plus on-the-road fees. Now, if you're after the 125cc version, which is practically the same scooter as this with just a different engine, that is £4,999 plus on-the-road fees. So yeah, no denying this is a premium scooter, but I do wonder how many people will buy this just to be a part of their collection. So what are my final thoughts on the Italjet Dragster 200? Well, let's start off with the negatives. First of all, I'm only 5'6". I got on really well with this scooter, but if you're a taller rider, do check this out for compatibility because you might get a little bit cramped. The other thing for me is the engine. It's a little bit sluggish and a little bit tame for what I was expecting. I'd love for that to be addressed on future versions of this scooter. The other thing, which also goes into a positive, is its premium and the price tag. 5,300 quid is not cheap, but you do get an awful lot of engineering genius that's gone into this scooter, which leads us into the positives, because I mean, just look at it. This is an absolute masterpiece. It is a stunner. Everything is so well engineered and designed. There's just nothing on the market quite like the Dragster. When it comes to steering and handling, it might be quirky at slower speeds thanks to that hub center steering, but when you get going, it comes into its own, that cockpit feel to the scooter, the steering, it is an absolute riot. Whether you're going around country bends or filtering through towns and cities, I think you'll just have a massive smile on your face. This scooter is just an absolute riot. It might be sluggish, but you still get that kind of Dragster feel, just at tamer speeds. If you enjoyed my full review on the Italjet Dragster 200, go on, hit that like button. If you've got a question or comment, make sure to put that in the comments section below. If you like this type of content, why not hit subscribe and then check out another one of our videos. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Trying the different angles just in case it might go.